What did you make of of pulling Jones from the game?
Well, I think he had to do it. I mean, to me, the way the game unfolded, Mack put the team at risk with his careless taking care of the football, bad decisions. And so to me, get him out of there because it certainly wasn't happening for him. I think the bigger question to me, guys, going into that news conference was what does that mean going forward? And, for him to stay with Mack and say that was significant to me, knowing that Mack will be starting Sunday against the Saints.
Do you think they'll make a move for a quarterback soon?
No, I don't. I think it's too early for that. I mean, I think they'll look at it and say maybe I hate using the term leash, but maybe the rope, that Mack has gets shorter, right? Because here's the thing. If he plays like that, he's not going to be the quarterback. That's one of those situations where I always think about what Belichick says. When you have the ball in your hands, you have the fate of the entire team in your hands. And to me, this is the first game, guys, that for me personally, I look at and say that was on Mack before anyone else. To me, they're in the game.
Sure.
in the early second quarter, and then it just went off the rails. And to me, he was the number one reason why.
Okay, but another thing is that yesterday is a game that you had players on this team being asked about Bill Belichick and his future with this team. There was the Dietrich Wise back and forth. I don't know if you got to hear that or if maybe you were even the one who asked the question. But do you think that when you see a team go this unprepared, whether it's defensively, special teams they were getting clowned, the offense is not ready. On top of that, when he's the guy who's in charge of the pieces that are out there, and now we're going on, 4 years now of disappointment. Is it fair to now start questioning whether Bill Belichick is right for this organization?
So, well, I was in there for the question. I didn't ask the question, but I heard the exchange. When there's a game like that, any question is fair. No one is sugarcoating it. I think from my experience doing this, guys, I think I would say these games happen to most every team. The key is what happens after a game like this. So, we can have the conversation. That's fair. I mean, the way they played, it was embarrassing to the organization. So what unfolded yesterday. To me, I look at the totality of the 4 games, and I still view what happened yesterday as an outlier to the first 3 games when I thought they were competitive against, 2 very good teams in the Eagles and the Dolphins, and then, squeak one out against the Jets on the road.
Okay, so, but there is a difference because they lost Judon, and it sounds like for a long time, if not the season. They lost Gonzalez. I don't know what the situation was at. Maybe you know. But so I'll ask you this: you're in you're in all the locker rooms. You're in after all the games. What was the mood in the locker room? Was it different than normal? Have you seen it like this before?
So, well, I've seen it like it before, but it was different, and I think I would probably highlight David Andrews, the center, who, when he spoke, I sensed anger in his voice with, with what unfolded. And so to me, that was the different part of it. And just to answer the thing on Gonzalez, I saw a little shot of him walking out of the stadium, when he had his arm, I don't know if it was in a sling, but it was tight to his body. Like his coat was on, but his arm wasn't in the sleeve coat.
So he'll probably miss time. You're going to guess. If you had to guess, yeah.
I would say absolutely.
Yeah, yep. All right. So that's arguably their best 2 players. Would you agree?
Yes, on defense.
Is it fair to look at Bill Belichick and start questioning what value he's bringing to this team right now?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question to ask. I was going to go back to the one when my call dropped. You had said, how fragile is this?
Yeah.
This thing going off the rails. So two games come to mind just covering the team over the last 2 decades plus. It was the one in Kansas City when they, that when they had Brady. Obviously, that's a huge factor. And the one in Buffalo when they lost in 31-0 after the lawyer Malloy was released, and the thing looked like it could have gone off the rails pretty quick there.
They won Super Bowls both those years, but Brady was there.
But Brady
both those
was
years.
there. That's the thing.
So that's a huge factor. But what I would say, the reason why I don't think this will go off the rails, even with the injuries to Judon and Gonzalez, like they have a lot of veteran guys that have been around the block, and I don't see them tuning Belichick out. But I think your point of, are they just not good enough? Like that's going to be ultimately like the question. Like, do they have the players to win games?
How much do you put is like because we've been talking about Mac Jones and how you just can't tell whether or not he's good, and because the offensive line 1 week is
They didn't give him any weapons.
but they didn't give him any, like
Yeah.
I mean, out of all the starts that Mac Jones has had, isn't yesterday's probably the one that you can point most directly at Mac Jones being the reason they lost?
So I feel that way, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like I think Mack is a good quarterback. Like if you go back to 24 hours before the game, I picked him as a player I thought was going to keep them in this game because he was going inside. I said I thought he was a better indoor quarterback than outdoor quarterback. I was wrong. This is the first game for me personally, from where I look at it, where I like confidence in him is a little shaken because I'm looking the game over, guys. And I mean, I think they're in the game early in the second quarter.
Sure.
The bad quarterback sneak, and then the 3 turnovers, and the thing just got away from them. So to me, that was Mack.
Yeah, how do you not pick up that first down with the new rules that you can just push? I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, if you push him from the back, and then he goes, I didn't get low enough. You got too low.
Yeah, you fell on guys.
You fell
You
on
didn't go
guys.
anywhere.
You didn't go anywhere. You got too low.
Guys, that was the first play I wanted to look at this morning when I woke up. And I think everything from how fast they were going, I don't know why they were hurrying. It was more than a yard that they needed. It was like a yard and a half. So I'm not even sure the sneak was the right call.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure they were aligned properly, like in terms of like, I think the left side of the line, and I wanted to look closer at it, could have been closer to the actual line of scrimmage. I just think that was one where when you talk about coaching, I wonder if they're going to look at it when they watch it over and say, geez, Belichick should say, I should have just called a timeout there and settled us down and figured out, you know what I mean, instead of hurrying. I think the pace, the hurry there was part of the issue.
How tough is this loss if Judon and Gonzalez are out for a period of time?
I would just take what Dietrich Wise said after the game and amplify it. Devastating. I mean, you guys said it. I mean, those are 2 of their best players. I mean, they're probably their 2 best defensive players. And I think what we saw yesterday with Gonzalez out, I mean, the next play.
Well, yeah, they went right after him.
20, and they were coming after him, not Gonzalez, but they made this a passing game right off the bat, and I think that surprised the Patriots a little bit. And I mean, I thought they exploited the lack of personnel they had outside of Gonzalez at corner early in the game.
Yeah, they were all banged up at corner. Do you?
Is Jack Jones returning this week?
So he's eligible to return, guys, but and I don't know if the information I have is accurate, but I was initially told it would be closer to the middle of the season for him. So I guess I would be surprised, but that was just one person's view of it, you know, with the team. Tyquan Thornton might be a more realistic option from what I understand, but I don't have that locked down, so I wouldn't want to say that 100%.
Oh, that's very exciting. All right, so I'll ask you this. You know, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that they pick up Mac Jones's, option, but you know it's one game, but they're 1-3. What does Mac Jones have to show for them to pick up the option? Do you think that there's a real chance that they might not do that if he doesn't vastly improve?
Well, Fred, I mean, the answer is how's he going to respond to this game, the worst of his career? I mean, this could go in either direction, and I don't think it's overstating it to say that this is sort of a decisive point in his career right now. And so to me, you leave that out there. I don't think that's decided in their mind one way or the other. I don't think it was decided before this game, but I certainly don't think this game helps when you talk about that.
So should fans start looking at forward to the draft and seeing who's available?
How many
after Caleb
quarterbacks
Williams?
are there?
Should we start rooting for them to lose? I mean, Arizona has a win.
So I would never root for him to lose. To me, I don't really believe in that stuff. And I would say this, guys, I mean, it's just been around long enough to see that 1 week doesn't always transfer into the next. They get the Saints coming in here next week, and then they go to the Raiders. I do think those are winnable games based on the way they played against the Eagles and the Dolphins and the Jets to a degree. So to me, I mean, it's just about winning the next game and sort of trying to level it out a little bit and survive in advance, if you will.